Good morning. So allow me to present our today's topic, pedagogical practices in teaching modern tongue, basics for developing instructional materials. So we are educators, and because of such, we could not help but be interested, be curious about matters pertaining to education. So it is told that there are many reasons why people need to be educated. The key purpose is that people need to be aware and mindful of issues and problems that are affecting their everyday lives, as well as they need to know what is going on in their environment, society, country, and world, so that they can prepare for the future and take some actions to address urgent issues and situations. Only a well-educated person can do such things. Education is a basic requirement for a person to become successful. A country with well-educated people will surely be productive, successful people who likewise will behave in accordance with the law and with respect to creation. Education also makes people gain knowledge, learn ethics, and enhance values. But how could education be? There must be the use of language. And since we are Filipinos, we are supposed to make use of two languages. The L1, which is our native tongue, and the L2, which is English. Now, mother tongue use, particularly in teaching and learning, may facilitate gaining of knowledge. But how about the situation or the context of this study? Mother tongue, as claimed in literatures, makes it easier for children to understand and use other languages. The same situation is anticipated to be true to the pupils of the one district. But what is the problem? The learning and use of mother tongue shall be made even more interesting and relevant. But learners' use of the said first language causes them further difficulty. So that's the initial thing we managed to find out. So what are the objectives of the study? For the general objective, the study intends to determine the usage of pedagogical approaches in teaching mother tongue, to determine its effectiveness, and to discern what instructional materials may be developed to facilitate greater learning of the learner's first language. Also, in terms of specific objectives, it intends to determine the profile of respondents in terms of age, educational attainment, and number of years in teaching mother tongue. For the second objective, we would like to distinguish the degree of usage of pedagogical practices in teaching mother tongue. Although there are lots, we opted to focus on four. The first one is the constructivist teaching approach, which allows children to learn by focusing on previous interactions based on their interpretations. Also, we considered reflective teaching approach, which enables the pupils to learn about their own experiences. This requires a relentless effort to allow them to draw on previous encounters as a strategy. Third on the list, we got collaborative teaching approach, which suggests or entails groups of students or teachers and students to collaborate together, to learn problem solving, performing assignment, or forming a community. And finally, in terms of approaches, we included integrative learning, which is an approach where the learner brings together prior knowledge and experiences to support new knowledge and experiences. On the third objective, we got to find the significant differences on the use of pedagogical practices when grouped as to profile variables. And the fourth one, identify the challenges encountered by the respondents in teaching mother tongue. What did we find out? First, majority of the respondents are 30 to 39 years old with MA units and have been teaching mother tongue for 4 to 6 years. Also, the, the pedagogical approaches such as constructivism, reflective teaching, collaborative teaching, and integrative teaching are used often, highest of which is constructivism with 3.46. Also, there is no significant difference on the use of the pedagogical practices when grouped according to profile variables. So as you could see on the table, so first table is according to age. So verbal interpretation is not significant in all four approaches. Now on table 11, basis of grouping is none other but educational attainment. So also the verbal interpretation is not significant to all four pedagogical practices. And then the next thing is according to number of years in teaching. So as you could see on the table again, the verbal interpretation is not significant in all four approaches. What else did we find out? The challenges encountered by the respondents in teaching mother tongue include the following. First is lack of trainings and seminars. Second is learning plans that are written in English instead of being written in mother tongue. Next is unavailability of IMs or instructional materials. And then finally, modern technology affects the teaching. So how about our conclusions? There is no significant difference on the respondents' pedagogical practices and their extent of effectiveness in teaching mother tongue when compared to grouped profile variables. And limited learning materials in teaching mother tongue are available. So how about the practical and social implications? So challenges in teaching mother tongue hinder the teachers from gaining great success in their teaching. Support through resources, trainings, and further education on the mentioned area needs to be provided to those teaching the subject. And for the keywords used in this study, we got the following: pedagogical practices, challenges encountered, usage of pedagogical practices, and instructional materials. And for the references we made use on our study, so we got the following. So that is all. Thank you for listening. So from our patroness, Saint Teresa of Avila, Solo Dios Master. Good day, everyone.